All right, so Ilia Topuria is talking a lot of about Paddy Pimblett, and Paddy Pimblett is loving it. Ilia's going to fight Charles Oliveira next week, International Fight Week, for the vacant title. And he's already got his sights on Paddy Pimblett next because he is a pain in the ass. He is a prick. He does not like him one little bit. Fair enough. Paddy's been talking calling him hand sanitizer boy.
Hand sanitizer boy!
Throwing water bottles at him. Saying anything he can, talking okay? And he is getting under the skin of Ilia Topuria. So much so that he wants to shut him up.
I get the title and you put me against Paddy.
First off, that's the great thing about this sport. If people talk shit, we literally have a forum. You are literally paid life-changing money to go out there and beat the shit out of the guy that is talking crap about you. That is winding you up. That is annoying you to the max, not necessarily giving you nightmares, okay? No, he's not doing that, but he is annoying him.
Don't even compare me to that. Boom. We are on different levels and everyone can see that.
Now, Topuria says that he's a prick and that he's cocky and he's arrogant and all this type of stuff.
La verdad que si pudiera yo elegir una pelea, pelearía con él porque...
Now, just playing devil's avocado for a minute, okay? Ilia Topuria is also rather confident. He goes out there, he changes his bio. He says it's a formality. He's calling out Islam. He said he was going to knock out Max Holloway. He said he was going to knock out Volkanovski. And he did do all of those things. But if by one person's standard, that makes you cocky, arrogant, a pain in the ass. When you're doing the same thing, sure, granted, he's backed it up every single time, Ilia Topuria. But to be fair, so has Paddy Pimblett. Now, Topuria's already got a fight. And people always say, you can't look past your next opponent. Yes, you can. Yes, you can if you're confident. Yes, you can if you believe in yourself. Yes, you can if you firmly believe that you're going to go out there and just walk through Oliveira, become the champion of the world. Then, of course, you're going to look forward and think, who am I going to fight next? Who is the biggest matchup for me? It ain't going to be Islam Makhachev because he's going to fight Jack Della Maddalena at some point in the future. So who else is there? Of course, Justin Gaethje did a video on this the other day. Justin Gaethje won't be happy. Okay, he wants a title fight or he's going to walk away from the UFC. Paddy Pimblett's just a hotter commodity right now. Simple as that. And of course, they have history. So Ilia Topuria said, verbatim, he's a hypocrite. I'll tell you. I remember we shared a press conference and he said something like, I'm going to be fighting on the main card and you're on the prelim. Some kind of nonsense. And now I'm thinking, I have 2 featherweight belts. Where are you? Who the is Paddy Pimblett right now, and why should he deserve to fight me? Well, Paddy Pimblett's undefeated in the UFC. Paddy Pimblett last just beat Michael Chandler, beat him down, made a mockery out of him, beat him to a pulp, and then got the finish, okay? And Michael Chandler is one of the top guys. Michael Chandler is the guy that some people beat in order to get a title fight. So you could argue that Paddy Pimblett's done everything that he needs to in order to secure a title fight. And of course, given the backstory, given the fact that Ilia's talking and given the fact that Ilia said in the past he's probably going to call out Paddy, well, look, listen, if I'm Paddy Pimblett right now, I ain't calling out Justin Gaethje. I ain't calling out anyone because that fight happens next Saturday. And if Ilia calls him out, it's going to happen. And you know the UFC is going to make that matchup, especially when Ilia says stuff like this. I'd love to give that fight to the fans because for a long time, I believe that in the UFC, we haven't seen a real fight. I disagree with that. 2 people who really want to fight each other, and what better way to put it in front of everyone and put it on a show. I know what's going to happen and it won't be good for him. Now, when you look at Ilia Topuria, the power that he has, I don't need to go through it. If you're an MMA fan, if you're watching this video, you know how good Topuria is and that he knocked out Volk and Max Holloway and he's a finisher and all this type of stuff. So I don't need to go through that. Of course, if you look at the matchup, Topuria is the better boxer. He's got the better resume. He's beaten better people. But Paddy's doing great things. Paddy said, if Ilia wins, and he wants to fucking say something about me, right? The UFC's going to make that fight. That's not what he said. He said...
The UFC will make that fight. I think so. Because they know it's a money fight. As Ben was saying, that's like one of them fights where people well pressed or all that, like McGregor Aldo.
Now, a lot of people talk about that promotion, okay? Conor McGregor, Jose Aldo, it was the perfect storm. Conor McGregor was such a massive meteoric star. We've never seen anyone like him in the sport. Jose Aldo was an incredible champion. Conor was calling him out right from the offset. And the UFC knew they had promotional gold. And of course, the promotion for that fight really was incredible. Most MMA fans aren't going to forget that crazy promo that they did where they had Conor McGregor walking down Las Vegas Boulevard with the Jay-Z songs playing and stuff like that. It was incredible promotion. But of course, when you've got Jose Aldo, the king of Rio, the king of the featherweight division, and Conor McGregor, that the entire world was just obsessed with, yeah, you promote that fight to the best of your ability. And look at what they've got now. It is a similar kind of situation. Ilia Topuria representing Spain and Georgia. The man's incredible in the octagon. He backs it up every single time, and the man is a finisher and excitement personified. Then you combine it with Paddy Pimblett, who's a loudmouth, who talks who's a pain in the ass if you ask Ilia Topuria. But if you speak to a lot of other people that know Paddy Pimblett, they will tell you a very different story. They will tell you that he's a great human being. And to be honest, you haven't got to look too far. If you look back at some of his press conferences, you see how he's talking about people that have committed suicide and really using those moments on the microphone to make a difference and to offer support, okay?
There's a stigma in this world that men can't talk. Listen, if you're a man and you've got weight on your shoulders and you think the only way you can solve this by yourself, please speak to someone. Speak to anyone.
Yeah, of course, Ilia's not going to like him because he's talking shit. But that's what we do as fighters. And if you're trying to make that fight happen, that's what you do. You poke the bear. And that's what I used to do. I was the biggest prick in the UFC.
Bisping's just a dick.
I was definitely Marmite or Vegemite personified as well, okay? And guess what? I got some good matchups. And I got to fight people like Anderson Silva. And I got to become the champion of the world down the line. And then eventually everyone was like, you know what? This guy's not too bad. And of course, Paddy's talking. He says, I
know I'd beat him. Funny because I got laughed at for it. But I know I'd beat him.
And that's what I used to say about Anderson Silva. And people used to laugh at me and go, oh my God, have you heard Bisping? He thinks he's going to beat Anderson Silva.
There you go. Simple as that. I'm going to beat Anderson. Hopefully I should fight for the title.
And yes, I did beat Anderson Silva. And yes, granted, it was after Chris Weidman broke his leg, or he broke his own leg, whichever way you want to call it. But he'd only lost to Weidman. It wasn't like he'd lost 5 or 6 in a row, and he was still pretty much the same version of himself. Trust me, I've got the scars to prove it. But Paddy went on to say, we've already talked about game plans to beat him. And I know how to beat Ilia Topuria.
No one goes for his weaknesses when he fights out. Everyone just tries to have a boxing match with him. Yeah. I'm not going to come out and have a boxing match with him. I'm going to beat him with my all-round MMA game. And as I said, no, I'll beat him out.
Of course, that is always the game plan. Shut everyone up, put them in the place, take the belt, make loads of money and walk off into the sunset. I don't think everyone chose to fight Ilia Topuria's type of fight because they didn't have a different game plan. No, it was because Ilia Topuria stopped them from executing their game plan. I would say if I'm training Paddy or Paddy's coach, the game plan would be to dance around, to use the leg kicks, to avoid a boxing match, to shoot in, to get a double leg, to push him up against the fence, to stall him, to frustrate him, do whatever he can to take him down, because that's Paddy's best element of his game plan. Whereas Ilia Topuria, he's got good jiu-jitsu, he has got very good wrestling, but it's the power in the hands that make all the difference. It's the power in the hands, which is why I'm picking him against Charles Oliveira, because I just think he'll catch him at some point. But nothing is guaranteed in MMA. You cannot take anything for granted. So many ways to win and lose. I think for the most part, it's just because Ilia Topuria is that good. He moves around the octagon. He's got excellent footwork. He controls the rhythm, controls the range. He's a threat with the strikes. He stops the takedowns with his Greco-Roman wrestling background, and he forces them into a boxing fight. It isn't because they go, I'm going to box this guy. Granted, Max Holloway did, because that's what Max Holloway does. That's what Max Holloway did when he knocked out Justin Gaethje. That's how Max Holloway has built a legendary career. He just got beaten by a better version of himself in some ways. But there's been other people, like Bryce Mitchell, who isn't really a striker, that got taken down off Ilia Topuria and ultimately got submitted. So just be careful what you wish for. But in terms of what do I wish for, I wish to see this fight. I can't wait to see it. Of course, next week is International Fight Week. Ilia's got to get through Charles the Bronx Oliveira first. That isn't a given. But I'll tell you what is given. If he does, Paddy Pimblett is going to be waiting on the sideline. And I guarantee that'll be Ilia's first title defense. And I'll tell you what, if you're in the camp of Paddy Pimblett, if you are Paddy Pimblett, if you're a coach, manager, whatever it is, it's a good time. Because right now, there's never been a better time to be Paddy Pimblett. The sport's bigger than ever. They're going to do a crazy promo. promo. Ilia's going to call him out. Bet your bottom dollar on it. Take it to the bank. Now, I've just got back from Canada. I'm absolutely exhausted. I'm going to take a little nap. You guys take care. All the best. Thanks for watching. Subscribe. Ring the bell. See you soon.